So how do you avoid buying a vehicle with flood damage? This is Dave at cartitles.com. We see a lot of vehicles that have had flood damage, and part of the reason that the title was not passed along to the new owner is because that title would have revealed flood damage. So how do you prevent that from happening even without having the documentation? Well, first, take a look around the underside of the car to look for XX rust in areas that normally wouldn't rust, inside the engine bays, underneath the carpet on the floor. Pull out some of the seal plates to see if there's any evidence of mold or if water got into some of the sound material that's underneath the carpet. That sound material is basically pressed cardboard. And sometimes if you, as you know, if you wet paper or cardboard, it'll change its consistency. Even when it dries out, it'll be a different type of material afterwards. Also look for signs for electrical connections having rust or corrosion. If you pull off a door panel and look at some of the switches, or even look underneath the engine compartment to see where the starter motor is. If any of those areas have corrosion, it may be a sign of flooding. Another place to look to see if there's evidence of flood is the ownership. If you run a Carfax on a vehicle, find out the ownership history. All it's going to tell you is the state where it resided. It's not going to tell you the owner's name, but think about where there may have been large flood events. If it was in New Orleans in 2005, well, guess what? There was a big hurricane there in 2005, so there may have been a flood issue. If it was in parts of Florida, if it was in parts of the Midwest, in Missouri, and even in Tennessee, during years when there were floods, that may be a reason why that vehicle is now out of state where you are without a title because they're trying to hide the flood damage. Look for those signs. Worst case scenario, get a good mechanic's overview of the car and have them inspect it thoroughly so you don't end up with a car that has a flood damage condition that you have to deal with, or a flood damage title, which may make it difficult to sell later. If you have questions about car titles, you can reach us at our website. Guess what? cartitles.com.